All right. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom. We are back. Continuing with our look at the triennial Torah portion. We, this week, are, of course, still in the book of Deuteronomy. We are going to be looking at Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy chapter 28, dealing with, of course, the blessings and the curses. Blessings and the curses.
More.
So, what? Hold on a second here. Okay, let us proceed. Having some technical difficulties, but we will push through. Hopefully, we don't have to deal with these things any longer. So, what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and read the first half of the chapter here, and we'll just deal with it in parts here. This chapter 28. Let me go ahead and pull up for us. The chapter here. One second. Just hold on 1 second here. What happened to my eastward? There we go. Okay. Let us read Deuteronomy 28. Hold on. And let's just look at the first 15 verses here. Starting with verse 1 there, nice and loud.
It shall be, if you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to guard to do all his commands which I command you today, that Yahweh your Elohim shall set you high above all the nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you, if you obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim. Blessed are you in the city, and blessed are you in the field. Blessed is the fruit of your body and the fruit of your ground and the fruit of your livestock, the increase of your cattle and the offspring of your flocks. Blessed is your basket and your kneading bowl. Blessed are you when you come in, and blessed are you when you go out. Yahweh causes your enemies who rise against you to be smitten before your face. They come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. Yahweh commands the blessing on you in your storehouses and in all to which you set your hand, and shall bless you in the land which Yahweh Elohim is giving you. Yahweh does establish you as a set-apart people to himself, as he has sworn to you, if you guard the commands of Yahweh your Elohim and walk in his ways. And all peoples of the earth shall see that the name of Yahweh is calling upon you, and they shall be afraid of you. And Yahweh shall make you to have plenty of what is good in the fruit of your body, in the fruit of your livestock, and in the fruit of your ground, in the land of which Yahweh swore to your fathers to give you. Yahweh opens to you his good treasures, the heavens, to give the rain to your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hand. And you shall lend to many nations, but you do not borrow. And Yahweh shall make you the head and not the tail. You shall be only on top, and not be beneath, if you obey the commands of Yahweh Elohim, which I command you today to guard and do. And do not turn aside from any of the words which I am commanding you today, right or left, to go after other mighty ones to serve them.
Okay, very good. 14 is good enough for now. Very good. We see over here, if we go back up here, we see something that we've seen before, where, of course, Moses speaking, giving the instructions to Israel. Here, let me put up our tools here. Speaking to the children of Israel, instructing the people to diligently obey the voice of the Most High, to diligently obey, to Shema, Shema unto the voice of Yahweh. This is something that, is part of who it is to be Israel, obedience. Walking in the ways of the Most High, guarding his ways, right? This is part of the life of being part of the people of the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he says over here, if you diligently obey and be careful to guard, to do all of these things, blessings will come upon you. He said blessings will come upon you. Let's see here. Blessings in the Hebrew here, barakah, prosperity, blessings, these things that are pleasant will and go come upon you. And he proceeds to describe all of the different types of blessings that will come upon Israel if, in fact, we were to diligently obey him and to guard, to do his will. In fact, He said these things will not only come upon you, but they will overtake you, he said. He said these things will overtake you. This is interesting, this word, this overtaking word here, in the second verse here. Nasag, to reach. Right? If something is to reach out and to grab you, right? This thing reaches out and takes a hold of you, right? But the context is talking about these blessings, these things, these desirable and pleasurous things that will come upon you if you walk in the ways of the Most High. And so one of the things that we wanted to kind of think about as we look at, this chapter here is, when we look at this chapter, it kind of identifies, in fact, the people of the Most High. It identifies for us the people of Israel. This chapter here, of course, could be something that when you look at it, it can be kind of looked at in terms of the individual. An individual that is diligently obeying the Most High. These things can and will be present in your lives. But when we look at this chapter, generally speaking, is dealing with the nation as a whole, right? When the nation does this or does that or doesn't do this or that. When the nation is obedient, blessings come. When the nation is disobedient, curses come. And so when we look, this is a way to be able to know who is Israel. And I think, right off the bat, we can look at, the people that are known as Israel today. We would have to say that the people as a nation, if they are his people, then either they're people that are diligently obeying his voice as a nation, or there are people who are disobedient. If there are people that are, if they are in fact a people that are diligently obeying his voice, then we should see all of these blessings befalling them. I'm saying the people that we look at and understand to be Israel as a nation. And so the problem then comes in when we know that Israel, in a point in time in history, because of their disobedience, was removed from the land. Forcibly removed from the land because of their disobedience. When did they return to the land? When did the people return to the land? And how is it that they returned to the land? Was it something that was inspired by the Most High? Was it something that was a result of the nation of Israel walking in the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High? You know, if we can look at the people of the so-called people of Israel as a nation and say that that people is righteous according to the standards, you know, created by the Almighty, then I guess that's the people. But if those people cannot be called righteous under the standards of the Most High, then it can't be the people. Another thing to think about is the fact that Yeshua came into this earth, lived and died and rose from the dead and sent back his Ruach HaKodesh for a particular purpose. And so Yeshua, you know, a people will have to in fact be attached to Yeshua at this point in the game to even be considered Israel. And so if you as a people reject the Messiah, then how are you the people? Right? There's all of these things, right? And so when we look over here at Deuteronomy 28 and we see you know, these blessings are all a result of the nation walking in obedience. But when we look at these verses through the lens of, you know, understanding time and historical facts, you know, this Deuteronomy 28 happened. Moses spoke these words. Israel lived out a life over a particular time period and got to a place where their inability to diligently obey the voice of the Most High caused for the second part of this chapter to happen. And so these are things that we have to think about. This chapter, you know, is prophetic. It's a prophetic chapter. Mm-hmm. It talks about the things that would in fact happen and befall the people of Israel when we were obedient to the voice of the Most High. And, you know, Israel lived a life, you know, in history. Israel lived a life where they were, in fact, blessed in the city, blessed in the field, blessed in the fruit of their body, blessed in the fruit of their ground and the livestock and the cattle and the flocks and the baskets and the kneading bowls and the comings and the goings. You know, we read about, you know, things going on with David and things and how prosperous our King David was in his military pursuits. And Israel was never a huge nation, right? And so when we think about, like, for instance, Deuteronomy 28, verse 7, Yahweh caused your enemies who rise against you to be smitten before your face. They come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. We can see in history where, you know, Israel was in fact this nation that was able to hold its own against these other nations. So again, from the speaking of this here, we can see, you know, how this, you know, from a prophetic standpoint comes about, right? So we're able to see the this prophecy come to pass. But again, this, just like many other times, I wonder if there could be somebody pull up a list of conditional statements in the Torah. How many are there? How many if-then statements exist in the Torah? If somebody knows that, just offhand, just put it in the chat if you know it.
It's almost like this adventure books or stories where you got the path.
Oh, choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure. Yeah.
I used to love those books, by the way. Choose your own
You
adventure.
get to choose which path you want to go.
Those are awesome books. That just as a side note, just as technology, in its infancy at that time, that right there, the fact that you could have a book, that was the most interactive kind of play that there could be. Like, you're reading a book and then you could either do this or you could do that, and depending on what you do, depends on what the end's gonna be. It could be bad for you or it could be good. If it's bad, then you got to go back to that pivot point and choose another path. But when you look at the Torah, this is the way in which the Most High deals with his people, interacts with us in the Torah. We are able to live in magnificent lives and carry out extraordinary existences in this place if we seek to do the will of the Most High. If we seek to do the will of the Most High, all of these things over here that he has over here is waiting for us. We're blessed in the city, blessed in the field, blessed is the fruit of our body, blessed is the ground and the fruit of our livestock. All of these things that we're doing, blessings are touching every aspect of our lives. Right? Every aspect of our lives is blessed. Where we're at, whether we're in the city, whether we're in the field, the things that we do, our family situations is fruitful, right? Our work situations are fruitful. Our agricultural pursuits are fruitful. The baskets, when we think about our baskets, when we go out and gather, those things are blessed. When we create from the things that we've gathered in our baskets, those things are blessed, right? Every aspect of our lives, everything that we touch is blessed when we walk in the laws, statutes, and commands, the character of the Most High. This is what we see over here. When things come against us, we prevail. We end up on top, right? The attempts that we make to gather and prepare, these things are all blessed, right? When you look at these verses, there's 7, 8, 9, the storehouses, the things that we set our hands to, the things that we build. All of these things are blessed when we diligently obey the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High. And so, from a principle standpoint, again, these things, can be true for us as individuals, and we don't want to not think about it in that regard, because this when you think about Deuteronomy 28, it is in fact a where's my cursor at? It is a kind of a reap and sow type of a thing. You reap what you sow, right? When we sow diligent obedience to the Most High, what we reap is His blessings, right? And this is kind of, again, this looking at this from a principle standpoint, but we have to remember that what we're looking at over here is in fact Moses. We have to first look at the fact that this is Moses speaking to the people, giving them, these are prophetic utterances. And Israel, they lived this, the manifestation of these first 14 verses in time. However, when we look in time, we see that there always was a necessity for Messiah to come. Right? There always was a reason, a necessity for Messiah to come. And so there was always going to be a need for Yeshua. And outside of Yeshua, outside of the manifestation of the new covenant, we was never going to be at as a people in the place where the Most High wanted for us to be. And so the second half of this thing was inevitable. All right, so let's continue. Let's look at this. Let's think about this some more, right? Well, before we go over to the next part, just kind of thinking about this more, understanding that the primary ingredient to our prosperity, which is something that we see over here, these blessings. The primary ingredient to our prosperity, our blessings, is our set apartness, is our connectedness to the Most High and His will and His ways. This is something that's very important. This is something that I think that many people don't acknowledge, don't understand, don't teach. We love to talk about, our identity as being, natural Israel. But what we have to understand is that the primary focus must be the thing that actually connects us to the Most High, which is not our blood, not who your daddy is, but Messiah. And understanding that what Messiah does in us, what He does for us, is changes us from this wretched being that we are outside of Him, transforming us into His likeness, right? There's nothing that's in us apart from Messiah that is good. The people talk to Yeshua, talking to Him, calling Him good, they said good master to Him. And he says to them, why callest thou me good? There's none good but Elohim. Teaching these people to understand that within ourselves lies no good thing. And so, that is all. That's an all-encompassing statement. And so when I think about, my lineage, there's no good thing in my lineage, right? And so for me to kind of put at the forefront, my bloodline, as if this is something that causes me to be in some elite class. This is it's fallacious.
Wow.
It's fallacious and it's folly. Because within me there is no good thing. And in the context of Deuteronomy 28, all of these good things come because of the relationship that the individuals, in this case the nation, the relationship that the people have with the Most High. They're all byproducts of a right relationship with the Almighty. All of these things are after the equal sign.
Yeah.
But before the equal sign is us plus the Most High. Right? Us times, us multiplied by the Most High equals all of these things. Blessings. Right? Okay, so again, identifying Israel, looks like this. If we're able to look and see that there's a nation of Israel right now, at this point in the game, these people have to be believers in Messiah.
Everything like this.
Right? And so if the people who call themselves Israel are deniers of Messiah, then they can't be Israel. Period, point blank. Because, again, looking back at time, Israel, our people, Israel got to a place where the deeds of the people caused the Most High to cause a separation. The deeds of the people caused for the Most High to have Israel be scattered across the four corners of the earth. Where we see prophecies like, here, let's look over at Jeremiah, where he said what he was going to do. Like when we find things in Jeremiah that tell us about what he's going to do to restore his people, restoration happens after separation. First comes the separation, and then you can have the restoration. And so when we look at the way that the Most High describes the restoration, first of all, he's the one that's doing it. And so if we look at a people that's supposed to be Israel, and the Most High didn't gather those people together, then those people can't be Israel.
They don't fulfill the prophecy.
They don't fulfill the prophecy. Israel was prophesied to reach a place of debauchery that was so bad that it was going to take a supernatural event to be able to restore the people. And that supernatural event includes Yeshua HaMashiach. And so this is very important to understand when we think about who is Israel and who isn't Israel. Right? So let's look over here. Hold on, let me find I keep losing my cursor. let's look at Jeremiah 32. Read for us 37 through 41. Jeremiah 32, 37. Start reading at verse 30. Matter of fact, you might as well just read at 36. Start reading at 36.
And now, thus said Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel, concerning the city of which you say it shall be given into the hand of the sovereign of Babel, by the sword and by the scarcity of food and by pestilence. See, I am gathering them out of all the lands where I have driven them in my displeasure, and in my wrath, and in great rage. And
Hold on a second. So, first of all, if we think about Deuteronomy 28, again, it talks about all of these blessings. If you do this, then I'm going to give you this. We didn't read the second part. We'll get into that right after we look at this. But we see over here that the Most High, it says in verse 37, I am going to gather you out of the places that I scattered you. I put you somewhere. The Most High put Israel in timeout. Nobody's able to take you out of timeout after Daddy put you there. If Daddy put you in timeout, you in timeout until he take you out. And so he said, I am gathering them out of these lands where I put you at because of what you did to me. My displeasure, my wrath, and in great rage. Okay, keep on going. And I shall, right here.
And I shall bring them back to this place, and shall let them dwell in safety.
He said, I shall bring them back into this place and let them dwell there in safety. And so, first of all, this thing that's bringing Israel into the land, which is Israel, couldn't be the UN. Because first of all, those people as a whole, first of all, they're not even religious though, as a people. As a people. I'm not talking about having parts of the people that's religious. But the people as a whole ain't religious, first of all. But second of all, they as a people, they don't believe in Messiah. And the way that the Most High said he's going to fix his people is to give them a new heart. He's going to put a spirit inside of them to cause them to do his commandments. And so that don't have nothing to do with people putting other people in the land of Israel. So therefore, these people can't be the people. Right, but keep on going. He said he gonna put them in a land and in this place, and they'll dwell in safety. 38.
And they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim.
Okay, so there is a relationship situation involved. They shall be my people, I shall be their Elohim. The people. If it's like just a little small portion of the people, that's not the people. Okay, so that's a problem. Okay, keep on going.
Says, and I shall give them one heart and one way to fear me all the days, for the good of them and for their and of their children after them.
We understand that when the Most High is giving these people, his people Israel, one heart and one way to fear him, that in fact is the Ruach HaKodesh, something they talks about other places in the scripture. This is a spiritual heart transplant that we must have in order to be part of Israel. This is the way that we're brought back into right relationship with the Most High. This is the way in which the Most High is going to choose to have his people be back in the land that he put his name on. All right, verse 40.
And I shall make an everlasting covenant with them, that I do not turn back from doing good to them, and I shall put my fear in their hearts, so as not to turn aside from me.
He's doing this thing in the hearts of the people. This is the new covenant. We can never truly understand the Most High outside of the Spirit living and dwelling on the inside of us. So when we look over here, when it says that he put his fear in their hearts so as not to turn aside from me, this is another way to describe the new covenant, the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, this is very important to understand. Okay, keep on going. 41.
And I shall rejoice over them to do good to them, and shall plant them in this land in truth, with all my heart and with all my being.
Okay, very good. So, when we look over here with this, thinking about this verse and other verses, there's a myriad of verses that describe the Most High bringing his people back after he casts us out, him bringing us back. And so, a nation of Israel looks like and walks in the character of the Most High. If you're not walking in the character of the Most High through the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, if he never put his fear in your heart, then guess what? You're not his people. You're not his people. What does it say over here? And cause them to dwell in safety. This is a key point to the true return. They occupy the land under constant attack. Those people over there do not dwell in safety. They do not dwell in safety. There's all types of things that go on over there in that land because those ain't the people the Most High didn't put them there. They're not dwelling in safety in the land. And so we can just look at these things and understand what it says from a prophetic standpoint in terms of how the people was going to get over there to know who's there can't be his people. Forget about anything else. Forget about anything else. And just think about the fact that in time, because of the disobedience of the people, Israel, we got ourselves in such a place of disobedience that he said he was going to do, cast us out throughout the whole earth, and that he was going to be the one to bring us back. And so again, a people that's there that wasn't brought there by the Most High, it automatically disqualifies that people. And so
it wasn't a religious movement. It was a political movement.
It was political. It was a political thing that those people did. And it was built off of the strength of people.
United States.
Or whoever, right? The people, right? The UN. This wasn't something that was, instigated by the Most High and his Ruach HaKodesh. Even if the nation, at this point, even if the nation was an Orthodox nation, they still don't have Yeshua. And them just all of a sudden making a choice to live a certain way outside of the spirit of the Ruach HaKodesh is not the way in which the Most High said that he was going to restore his people. when we understand what it is that happened over there in Acts chapter 2 with Peter speaking to those crowds of people and the Spirit being poured out on all of those people, that manifestation of Shavuot, the manifestation of Ezekiel chapter 36, manifestation of the law being placed on the hearts of his people. When we understand what that means, we can't have that outside of Messiah. Okay, so let's keep on. Let's go back over here and look at. I want to look at the rest of Deuteronomy 28. Well, not the rest because there's a lot. Let's look at. Let's go back over to it and read some more of it, just to kind of get our minds around the reality of Israel's current state, which is in fact a state of disobedience. So start reading. Read verse 15. Let's see how much I want you to look at. Just look at 15 down through 20.
And it shall be, if you do not obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to guard to do all his commands and his laws which I command you today, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you.
Mm-hmm.
Cursed are you if are you in the city, and cursed are you in the field. Cursed is your basket and your kneading bowl. Cursed is the fruit of your body and the fruit of your land, the increase of your cattle and the offspring of your flocks. Cursed are you when you come in, and cursed are you when you go out. Yahweh sends on you the curse, the confusion, and the rebuke in all that you set your hand to do, until you are destroyed and until you perish quickly because of the evil of your doings by which you have forsaken me.
Okay, very good. So when we look over here, if we remember now, when we look back up at where it begins with the blessings, all of those things that was mentioned over here, these first verses, are the things that we see in the blessings. All of these things are revoked, right? Because you did not obey the voice of Elohim to guard and do all of his commands and his laws, which I command you today. So now, instead of being blessed in the city, you curse in the city, curse in the field. Cursed is your basket and your kneading bowl. Cursed is the fruit of your body, the fruit of your land, the increase of your cattle, the offspring of your flocks. It's all cursed. Cursed are you when you come in. Cursed are you when you go out. When we live in an existence of disobedience to the Most High, your life is going to be messed up. It's going to be cursed. That's what it says right there. Cursed. Here, let's look at this. Cursed. Arar. Execrate. Bitterly curse. Let's see. To inflict with a curse. Let's see here. So it's kind of the antithesis. It's the antonym of Barak. Barak is this blessing, this nice thing, this pleasant, desirable experience that you receive, right? The opposite of that is this curse, right? And we see that. We see where when we walk in his law, statutes, commandments, when we walk in the character of the Most High, good things happen to us all over the place. Everything we do is blessed in the city, in the field. But the opposite here, when we don't do it, is true, right? And so, again, thinking about this from a national perspective, thinking about this from a perspective of understanding the history, Israel, who was cast out of the land by his enemies, we have to understand that the Most High allowed for that to happen. Because we just read over in Jeremiah 32 where he said he was going to regather the people from all the places that he scattered them because of their disobedience to his law, statutes, commands, out of his anger and his wrath. So not because of Rome, right? Not because of the enemies of Israel was Israel cast out of Israel in 70 AD, but it's because of the wrath of the Most High. And then so he says over here that because of what you've done, cursed you're going to be in everything that you sit up here and do. All of the things that the Most High blessed you in before, all of those things are going to be cursed for you now. And so it's interesting when we look at Deuteronomy 28, because again, he could really, as a counterbalance, could have been done right here. He really, as a counterbalance, this could have been done right here, because you have the first part, the blessings that kind of incorporate everything. Everything's included in those first 14 verses in terms of your whole life. Everything that you could be doing, where you go, where you're at, if you're in the city, if you're in the field, the things that you gather, the thing that you make with what you've gathered, your plantings, your keepings of animals and things, your physical offspring, where you go, where you come, where you go, everything that you do is blessed if you walk in his law, statutes, and commands. Over here now, all of those things are taken away. And so if it's all encompassing, talking about all of your blessings, and it has the same list, that all encompassing list over here, I'm saying that he really could have stopped with verse 20. Because, did you read verse 20? Read that again.
Verse 20 says, Yahweh sends on you the curse, the confusion, and the rebuke in all that you set your hand to do, until you are destroyed and until you perish quickly because of the evil of your doings by which you have forsaken me.
He said, until you are destroyed and until you perish quickly because of your evil of your doings by which you forsook me. The Most High at this point is not only trying to cause for your life to be messed up in every regard, but he said let your life be messed up until you're destroyed and perish quickly. And this is a very important thing that we really need to kind of focus on over here. Again, thinking about Deuteronomy 28 from this prophetic standpoint, understanding the state of Israel right now as a nation from a historical standpoint up until right now in 2022. The Most High said that because of the things that the people did after Moses, some unknown time after Moses, these things is going to happen, where the Most High said he's going to destroy his people and want for them to, and he's going to keep on doing it until they're destroyed and until they perish quickly. But it's interesting when we look at Deuteronomy 28 and compare it to Leviticus 26. Let's go over to Leviticus 26. Because Deuteronomy 28 is almost apocalyptic. It's futuristic. And we're going to see why. Let's look over Leviticus 26. Look at verse 40. Start reading at verse 40 here. Hold on one second here. Okay. Verse, matter of fact, just context. Let's start reading at 38.
And you shall perish among the nations, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up.
Okay, this is actually, okay, just more context. This is the curses portion of Leviticus 26. There's a blessings portion which is given first, and then now this is the curses part. Okay? Read that again.
And you shall perish among the nations, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up.
Uh-huh.
And those of you who are left rot away in their crookedness in your enemies' lands, and also in their fathers' crookednesses rot away with them.
Okay, so it sounds similar to what we see over in Deuteronomy 28. But verse 40, read that.
Verse 40 says, but if they confess...
It said, but...
If they confess their crookedness and the crookedness of their fathers which they trespass, in which they have trespassed against me, and that they also have walked contrary to me, and that I also have walked contrary to them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. If their uncircumcised heart is then humbled, and they accept the punishment of their crookedness.
Hold on. There is some type of return that's mentioned over here. It said all this bad stuff over here. These people, you're gonna perish among the nations. The land of your enemies gonna eat you up, and the ones who didn't get left eaten up are gonna be left to rot away in their crookedness in their enemies' lands. It sounds terrible, but verse 40, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. If you confess your crookedness and the crookedness of your fathers with their trespasses in which they trespass against me, and that they also have walked contrary to me, and verse 41, if their uncircumcised heart is then humbled. It talks about the people now humbling their hearts and accepting the punishment of the crookedness. These are the beginnings of repentance over here. That's mentioned with these curses. And so there's light at the end of the tunnel. You're going to go through this bad stuff, but this bad stuff is happening so that there can be repentance. This bad stuff is just a whooping. It's just a spanking. It's just chastisement. Read 42 right there.
Then I shall remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Yitzhak, and also remember my covenant with Abraham, and remember the land.
Okay, look at this. There's a return. right? If the people that are disobedient can with their uncircumcised heart humble themselves and accept this punishment, and not just accepting the punishment but actually turn and repent, then the Most High is able to forgive and remember what happened, right? But again, when we look back over in Deuteronomy 28, the difference is that this part ain't there. This part is absent. This part is absent from Deuteronomy 28. Let's look over here. Let's look over here at hold on one second here. Where is that at that I'm looking for here? Hold on one second. Let me look in this. Oh yeah. Okay, 26. Okay, this I just want to look at a few verses over in 26 just to compare and contrast. 26:14. Read that right there.
26:14. But if you do not obey me and do not do all these commands, and if you reject my laws, or if you or if your being loathes my right rulings.
Here, read this part right here. Read the King James part right here.
It says, "But if ye will not hearken unto me, and will not do all these commandments."
Okay, so if you will not hearken, right? The Most High wants for the people to listen. If you do not listen, then these things are going to happen to you. But read 23. Read 23. Read this.
"And if ye will not be reformed by me by these things, but will walk contrary unto me."
He said, if you will not be reformed. So he's trying to allow for chastisement to happen. Literally with blows, beatings to happen, right? Instruction, binding, chastisement, correction, instruction, punishment, reform. He's looking for the people to change. Over here in Leviticus 26. Okay? So this is so it's important to look over here and compare and contrast, because when we see in time Israel, they had the Babylonian captivity where the people was destroyed, but then came out of captivity. They came back. They made it back. There was a reformation. There was a reformation from the separation of the Most High. And so we can see over there where Leviticus 26 happens, where he's going through all of these bad things, this chastisement, this reformation, this chastisement, these beatings, so that Israel can return. But when we go back over here to Deuteronomy chapter 28, we don't find the same sediment in these chapters, in these verses over here. The same sediment don't exist. And that's something to take note of. Okay? There is not an easy comeback from this. Something miraculous must happen in order to return from this. He literally, as he said, is going to have to bring the people back to the land that he sent them out of his anger and out of his wrath because of what he did to us. Because of the fact that he not only took away all of the good that he gave, but he added more bad after he brought us back to zero. When we think about this from a mathematical perspective, because my wife, she is a mathematician, self-proclaimed.
Yeah, great.
Because she's a self-proclaimed mathematician. If we think about the blessings, you start off at zero because you're nothing. Why call me good? There is none good. You're zero. Then you have the blessings, so you push you into positive. And so when we look at these curses, it's the same curses but reversed. So he bring us back to negative. To zero. But then when we get down past verse 20, he's adding to our curses, which is putting us further away from zero on the negative side. The Most High is a mathematician. He's a mathematician. You see what he did over here? He caused us to be negative. We're not even zero anymore. We're negative. He said that he's going to send on these curses confusion and rebuke in everything that you set your hand to do until you are destroyed and until you perish quickly because of the evil of your doings by which you have forsaken me. There's a forsaking thing that happens. What is this that we did to the Most High when we forsook him? Azab, loosen, relinquish. We relinquished, we let the hand of the Most High go. We let go of the Most High's hand, who was there holding on to us and keeping us from all hurt, harm, and danger. And we loosened our hand from his. And we relinquished back our life from the safety that he provided for us. And then he allowed for all of that destruction to come upon us because we separated ourselves from him. What we got over here in the comments? This shows Yahweh, Yahushua's great rule over all powers. He created the powers of peace, evil, light, and darkness. The Most High does what he must to fulfill his word of restoration of his people. He does, in fact, it says, you said that the Most High does what he must to fulfill his word. And the thing that he must do to fulfill his word is, he did it already, that's Yeshua. And so the only way that this thing over here that it begins to deal with over here in Deuteronomy 28, when it gets to these curses, is Yeshua. At this point, it's not even mentioned. At this point in the game, it's not even mentioned. Like there's a return. Again, Leviticus 26, you could come back. All you got to do is turn around. All you got to do is stop doing that stuff, and then we could be done with this bad relationship that we're having with one another. That's Leviticus 26. Deuteronomy 28, it don't talk about that. He just taking us out at this point. Read. Huh?
Done with it.
Done. Okay. All of these things, confusion, rebuke, destruction, causing us to perish. Let's keep on going. Let's look at, because these, we look at these things mean what they say over here. These things mean what they mean. Right? This is all of the things that he's putting on his people. But the thing I want to pay attention to is the fact that where's the correction part? Where's that at? It's missing. It's not over here. We won't find it. Read 21 and 22 there.
Yahweh makes a plague cling to you until he has consumed you from the land which you are going to possess. Yahweh strikes you with wasting disease and with inflammation and with burning and with extreme heat and with the sword and with blight and with mildew, and they shall pursue you until you perish.
Okay, very good. So, again, when we think about the way in which the Most High is dealing with the people of Israel at this point, at this point in these prophetic utterances, the place where the Most High is going to be dealing with his disobedient people, he already brought us back to zero. Now he's adding more negative to his people, with the end being for his people to, what does it say over here? To abad, to perish, to wander away. That is, lose oneself, to perish, destroy, break, destroy, destruction, to not escape, to fail, to lose, to be undone, to be void of, to have no way to flee. This is the place where he wanted for his people to be as a result of the disobedience. And this is something that, we have to pay attention to. Again, how is this corrected over here? Something more than just getting back on track is necessary. So much so that it's not even mentioned. We don't even know. Based on looking at this chapter, you don't even know. It seems it's all hope is seemingly lost. At this point, there's no recovery mentioned over here. It's only bad, and again, we already got back to zero. He took away all of the blessings, back, a couple verses up, but now he's just adding to the curses. And there's no if you repents over here. There's no mention of reformation over here. Every single thing that you do, he said, Yahweh makes the plague cling to you until you be consumed. So again, now if thinking about, identifying Israel, because we know that Israel got to a place where we was expelled out of the land. The Most High allowed for his people to be expelled out of the land. Why? Disobedience for his word. But we also know that we have this thing where we're able to see at that point, at least, that he makes a way for his people to return, but that way is Yeshua. And so, we're able to put these two things together until the nation is able to accept Yeshua. Then these things, I'm saying nationally speaking, these things is going to be happening to his people. These things that we read about. And so when we look at a people in history, this people, everything that this people try to do fails. There's all types of things that just cling to them. Yahweh makes the plague cling to these people. Wherever they're at. It says, until he has consumed you from the land which you are going to possess. And he strikes you with all types of diseases, inflammation, burning, extreme heat, sword, blight, mildew. And those things, all of those things follow you. They pursue you. They chase you down until they perish. Cause you to perish. So again, if we was to look at this prosperous people according to the world standards, if we was to look at these people that were according to the world standards prosperous, you as a nation of people doing good excludes you from being the people as a nation. If you're a people that's in charge of all of the money in the world, if you're a people that are calling all the shots, making all of the decisions, if you're the head and not the tail in 2022, there's a problem. And especially so if you're not connected to Yeshua. And so at this point, as a nation, when we think about Israel, where Israel is today, Israel must be a downtrodden people filled with disease and inflammation and burning and extreme heat and sword and being cast down at every turn. That's what you should expect for Israel as a nation to be, if we believe in what the Bible actually says. Okay, read down to 28.
23 says, and your heavens which are over your head shall be bronze, and the earth which is under you iron. Yahweh makes the rain of your land powder and dust. From the heavens it comes down on you until you are destroyed. Yahweh causes you to be defeated before your enemies. You go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them. And you shall become a horror to all the rains of the earth. And your carcasses shall be food for all the birds of the heavens and the beasts of the earth, with no one to frighten them away. Yahweh shall strike you with the bolts of Mitzrayim, boils of Mitzrayim, with tumors, with the scab, and with the itch, from which you are unable to be healed.
Okay, hold on. Verse 26, this stuff happens to you. There's no one to frighten these birds that are eating your dead carcasses away. You're already dead, and then there's not even nobody to shoo away the animals, the birds of prey that are eating at your carcasses. You have all of these diseases. You got the the plagues of Egypt on you, and there's nobody that can heal you. No one can frighten them away. You're unable to be healed. Verse 28.
28 says, Yahweh shall strike you with madness and blindness and bewilderment of heart.
Okay, very good. Let's look at this blindness. Let's look at this blindness here. This, again, is the state of Israel outside of Messiah. The people as a nation, right? Okay, so when you look at this, the context helps you because it says, Yahweh shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. So when you look at this blindness, which is probably literal blindness, it is. It says right here, right? It's Ivarum or Averet. It's literal blindness. But in the context, right? Madness and blindness and bewilderment of heart. So when we think about this this blindness, it's a spiritual blindness. It's an inability to be able to, as Yeshua said, if you have ears to hear and eyes to see. When he speaks about that blindness or these eyes to see, he's not thinking about you literally being able to open up your eyeballs and look at things, right? It has to do with with your mental capacity and your ability to be able to perceive this or that. Let's look over at. Let's look at. Let's see here. What does it say in Lamentations 4? Read verse 14.
They staggered, blind in distress. They have defiled
Streets.
blind in the streets. They have defiled themselves with blood, so that no one was able to touch their garments.
Okay, very good. It's giving you this imagery of being blind and how one would be if they were literally blind. But the blindness is connected to your mental capacity and your ability to be able to perceive those things which are right and which are wrong. Right? What's this saying? What's verse 17 say?
And I shall bring distress on men, and they shall walk like men, blind men, because they have sinned against Yahweh, and their blood shall be poured out like dust and flesh like dung.
Okay, very good. Again, it's the imagery here is blindness, but the blindness is not necessarily literal. And so when we think about the people, Israel, today, we should expect madness and blindness, and not literal blindness, but blindness of rightness and bewilderment of heart. Right? And then it goes on in verse here. Let's go back to Deuteronomy. And verse 29.
29 says, and you shall be groping at noon, as a blind man gropes in darkness, and not prosper in your ways, and you shall be only oppressed and plundered all these days, with no one to save you.
Look at your people. Your people. I'm saying your people. Look at your people. It says that these people are going to be stricken with madness, blindness, bewilderment of heart, groping at noon as a blind man gropes in darkness, and not prosper in all his ways. When we think about a day, you know, not a calendar day, but the daytime. At noonday, you should be in full swing, alive, carrying on, having the things that you're in the thick of the things that you're doing. Right? You might be groping at Boker at the beginning of the day when you're trying to get a grip of yourself, and you know, I'm groping on my way to the bathroom when my alarm goes off. Right? When I'm trying to just get my bearings of you know, being awake. I have to go out and toil in the thorns and the thistles, right? I'm doing that at daybreak, but it says you people are going to be groping at noonday, as when you already is supposed to have been up already. As a blind man gropes in darkness and not prosper in your ways. That's what your people look like. Your people look like that. That's the state of Israel outside of Messiah as a nation. Why are we able to look at a whole nation of people and they literally look like this? Dramatic pause. Because the Most High is real. And he really did do this to his people. He really did cause for his people to have this spirit of blindness upon them and bewilderment of heart. He said, Yahweh will strike you with madness and blindness and bewilderment of heart. He's doing this to his people because of disobedience. And there's nothing that you inside of yourself is able to do. You can sit up here and as a human being, you can make whatever life for yourself that you want to make for yourself. But at the end of the day, you still going to be treated the same way in this land of captivity that you found yourself. Not because of the wickedness of the hearts of the people that's over you, but because of your disobedience and connection to the creator and sustainer of life, who is Yahweh, Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Read, let's look at verse, start reading again at verse 30 there.
You become engaged to a wife, but another man does lie with her. You build a house, but do not dwell in it. You plant a vineyard, but do not use its fruit.
Yeah, keep on reading all the way down to 33.
Your ox is slaughtered before your eyes, but you do not eat of it. Your donkey is violently taken from before you, and it is not given back to you. Your sheep are given to your enemies, with no one to save them. Your sons and your daughters are given to another people, and your eyes look and fail for them all day long, and your hand powerless. A people whom you have not known eat the fruit of your land and all your labors, and you shall be only oppressed and crushed all the days.
Okay, again, when we think about Israel, if we believe in Yeshua, we have to know that outside of Yeshua, Israel as a people must look like this. If you believe in Yeshua, Israel must look like this. There's no other way that Israel could look, because this is the way that the Most High said he's going to deal with his people in our disobedience. The only way back is Messiah. If you believe in him, the only way back is Messiah. So you can't be looking at Israel and this ain't what Israel looks like.
Yep.
If you're looking at things and understanding them correctly. He said, I want to look at this word here. He said, and there shall be no might in your hand. Your hand will be powerless. What's that word? El. Strength. Might. Mighty. Great. Strong. You are powerless. The man is invisible, powerless. He's not able to lead, protect, provide. That's what that says right there. That's what we just read over here. You gonna be engaged to a wife, and somebody gonna take her, and there's nothing you could do about it. You gonna build a house to live in it, and somebody else gonna come and live in your place that you built. You gonna plant, they gonna eat your stuff and watch you. It's like Debo. It's like Debo. That's my bike. Just come and take it, right? Because they want it. The people that's over you, and you only gonna always be under them. Your sons and daughters are given to another people. You gonna look at them with some weak eyes and fail for your sons and your daughters all day long and be powerless. Who looks like that? Who's the people that looks like that? I mean, this is a terrible existence. And the other thing is that, we want to sit up here. We want to sit up here as people who exist in this existence and look at the persons who are these other people who have our sons and our daughters. These other people who take our fruits and they take our wives and they live this life that exemplifies our powerlessness and our inability to protect and provide those who we are have been commissioned to protect and provide for. We look at those people and we want to sit up here and point the finger at them. Like they're the originators of this plan. Meanwhile, the originator of this plan is the Most High. And the reason why we're in the situation that we're in is not because of some wicked people that's over us, but because we ourselves were wicked and refused to acknowledge the true and living Elohim and walk diligently according to his laws, statutes, and commands.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that he came up with a way where he took the necessity for us to have the strength, power, and ability to do it within our own selves. He said, I look and I see you, and I know that you're not able to do this thing that I'm requiring of you because of your dead, cold heart. You're not able to walk in my laws, statutes, and commands. You're not able to have a circumcised heart. So I'll circumcise it for you. But outside of that, there's no way for you to be able to do it. And that's why when we look at these things and we think about, the severity of what we're looking at, the utter powerlessness, he said no one can heal you. You're in this terrible situation. There's nothing that nobody's able to do about it. No walks or protests or legislation is going to be able to save you. Only Yeshua can save you. It's the only way. Right? We shouldn't be looking for the government to put us in a better position.
Or teach the kids.
I mean, that's part of this. We look at verse 28. Your sons and daughters are given to another people. You're let me make myself big right here. You're participating. You're handing your sons and daughters over to another people. When you allow for those people to train the minds of your sons and your daughters. But it speaks to the utter powerlessness that is in your hand. You don't have a choice. You're in such utter poverty that you can't teach your children. You're physically unable to do it because you got to go out and work. But this is part of this curse right here. Deuteronomy 28:32. Your sons and daughters are given to another people. Parentheses, by you, because of the fact of your position that you're in. And your eyes look at them as you send them off, as you put them on the school bus. And your eyes fail for them all day. Utter powerlessness. But this is where we are, right? This is where we are. These are the things that are upon us, his people, as a result, again, of our disobedience. Let's see here. Keep on going. 34.
And you shall be maddened because of the sight which your eyes see. Yahweh strikes you in the knees and on the legs with evil boils of which you are unable to be healed. And from the sole of your foot to the top of your head.
Okay, it's interesting when we think about these things, right? Like when we think about these things that comes upon the people, his people, Israel, these different diseases and things. But again, as we were just thinking about verse 32, we're able to look at that and understand, from a practical standpoint, our role that we actually play in this. The same thing is true when we look at verse 35. When you think about us as a people, you think about us as a people and the physical condition and ailments and sicknesses that kind of become hereditary with us. But all of these things really become connected. It's not some magical thing that's falling on us, but it's kind of a systematic thing where, you know, look at the traditions, look at all of the traditions that have been connected to us as a people. They're terrible traditions. They're things that destroy us. But these are all things that we as a people do. You know, like our diet, like the things that we eat. You know, if we was to pull up on somebody's 4th of July gathering, if we was to pull up on somebody's 4th of July gathering, somebody 9 out of 10 gatherings gonna have some chitlins.
You might eat chitlins at work.
You don't think people eat chitlins? I don't know. I never ate chitlins.
Not on 4th of July, I don't think.
Oh, it's not. They're gonna have some ribs.
Cook that on the stove, like.
They're gonna have some ribs though.
Pork ribs.
They're gonna have some. Well, when you say ribs, it's pork. You only got to put the caveat when it's beef ribs. Ribs is pork.
Yeah.
Beef ribs is, or short ribs is.
I don't think they're gonna have chitlins.
All right, you right. They might have. They definitely gonna have some ribs.
Oh yeah, definitely ribs.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. These diseases that are upon us
From our diet.
are predominantly hereditary from learned behaviors and lifestyles. Wicked behaviors and wicked lifestyles. Right? That we just acquired these things in our disobedience. Right? And so you gonna pull up to somebody's gathering. It's gonna be all types of pork, all types of pig. They're gonna put somebody might have the deep fryer outside, because you right, it is hot, but that ain't gonna stop them from having the deep fryer outside with some catfish. And that ain't gonna stop them from putting some shrimp on the grill with the ribs. And, you know, having all of these different things going on. But this is like these are our traditions as a people. Like, this is what we do. I watched this wonderful, the documentary, I'm saying, it was a wonderful documentary. Wonderful. And it showed the practices, the food customs of the so-called black people. They started from West Africa and followed over to the southern states in America. And at that point, coming out of West Africa, you already dealing with, again, if you're going to sit up here and say that you're Israel, if you saying that you're Israel and you believe in Messiah, by the time you was in West Africa, Yahweh has been manifesting Deuteronomy 28 for 1,000 years already. He's been destroying his people for 1,000 years already. And some change already. And so don't look over to West Africa and think that that's some kind of pure people over there. Them people's already destroyed. But the proof is we wasn't just eating these animal parts, leftover parts, just because that's what we had when we got over here. We was eating leftover animal, non-food according to the Torah parts in West Africa before we came over here. We just was able to adapt to these animal parts that we was given over here. But we was already taking these leftover animal parts and eating with them over there. Because that's what we ate as a people. We wasn't eating clean foods over there. We didn't just start being messed up when we was brought over to this place over here. We was already messed up. People do be acting like we was living this perfect life over there in West Africa. Guess what? When they start bringing people over here in the 1600s or whenever they was bringing them, you talking about 70 AD Israel got cast out of it's 70 AD when Israel got cast out of the land. So we can't sit up here and act like slavery is the thing that destroyed us. You already was destroyed already. You already was destroyed. That's why the Most High kicked us out of his land in the first place. 1,500 years prior to that. Okay, so let's just let that be known. And so all of these things that the Most High is talking about over here is things that was already embedded in us, in our very being, since the Most High kicked us out of his land in 70 AD. Okay, so let's keep on going. Let's look at this some more. Because this thing just goes on and on. It just don't stop. And again, there is no recourse. There's no comeback. There's no, if you would just do what I said, then you'll be all right. Over here at this point, he's trying to destroy us because the only way that we're able to be renewed and restored is through what he's going to do with the pouring out of the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, let's pick up at verse 36.
Yahweh brings you and the sovereign whom you set over you to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known. And there you shall serve other mighty ones, wood and stone. Okay,
very good. So 36, you and your king, you and the person who you put over you as your king, all of y'all gonna go somewhere and become idolaters. Not that you gonna go to this nation and in that nation, those people are a nation of idolaters. It says that you and there in that place you shall serve other mighty ones, wood and stone. You're gonna go somewhere and become an idolater. That's what it said. Okay, 37.
Thus you shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and a mockery among all the peoples to which Yahweh drives you. You take much.
Hold on. This right here, this is interesting because when you think about us over here in this place where we are, where we are people that don't have no identity. Who are you? Where did you come from? You don't even know. You can't say where you're from. You can't say who your people are. You don't have any idea as to a culture to which you belong. You don't know. So much so that you literally have become this byword. You literally have become this thing that, the way that you're described is, by a proverb, is by what you're perceived to be. It's interesting when I go to work, right? I work in construction. And on these construction sites, people play their various musics. Sometimes you'll hear, it's that's funny. It's predominantly white industry. It just is. And so you're gonna hear a lot of classic rock. Right, you're gonna hear a lot of. You're gonna hear, for the most part, that's what you're gonna hear. But you're also gonna hear, some hard some hard rock, like some thrasher music.
What's hard rock?
It's just.
It's not heavy metal. Though.
Yeah. It's
Heavy
like
metal?
it's like it's there's no melody. It's just like this is what it is. Like, this is the music. It's just... But with this younger generation, with this generation of people that are kind of in their 30s, that are coming up, hip hop music is the music. If you listen to country music, like modern country music, it's hip hop. Like, it's so strange, considering when hip hop was in its infancy. I literally had to, there was a one night a week on the college station that you was able to tune in, barely, and find where regular radio didn't play it. But now it's like the mainstream music. But it's offensive to me when I hear these white people. I don't like black people doing it either, but it's even more offensive. I don't know why. I can't even explain it. It's more offensive for me to walk past somebody playing some music and they saying the N-word in the music. Like, it's offensive to me. But this is like modern culture where it's not even, it's fine. It's fine for that to be in the music.
Because they put it in the music.
I know, but it's a mockery though.
It is a mockery.
It's a mockery. It's a mockery for us to have this word that these people put on us as a word that's a derogatory word. For this thing to be mainstream, and for other cultures, other nations, other peoples to participate in it, in our mockery.
It's not shameful. It's just like the women being naked, and it's not a mock. I mean, they're proud of their mockery. They become proud of their mockery. They wear it as a banner.
I can't help but see certain things just because I'm online, and so I'm scrolling through the internet, and I see that this, I don't even want to say the person's name, is released this album cover picture. We have modern day sex goddesses in our popular culture. I don't know what the difference is for whatever sex goddess that they had This whatever people that worship these sex goddesses, whatever they did in those ancient times, for us to have our major pop stars to walk around and be naked, and for people to sit there and be these objects of lusts after them, I don't know why that's not a sex goddess. But it's our people sitting up there causing for themselves, like parading themselves around in this position that's quote unquote sought after. Meanwhile, you're participating in a mockery against your own self, and you're promoting these ideas of beauty when in all actuality you're making yourself into a walking mockery. And this is our people. The only white people that you see that behave in the same way are white people that have that kind of are folded into our culture. Why is that? Why is it like that? This is why right here what we're looking at. Because this is what we've become. An astonishment, a proverb, and a mockery among all the people in which Yahweh has driven us. It's interesting when you look at when I was looking at the comments, and all of the other people that were looking on at this person, they had nothing but terrible things to say.
Really?
About this very high pop star who's like the most popular pop star in the whole world. But all of them had nothing but terrible things. Look at this person. She's butt naked. Why does she have to be butt naked in order to sell? She's the most popular person in the world. Why does that have to be the thing that sells her new record? That's because we are a mockery in this place that we live. And there's no way for us to be able to recover. You can't even look at it and think that it's a mockery. You think it's wonderful. Oh, that's the most beautifulest thing I've ever seen. She's so proud of herself, and her physique is amazing.
It probably is airbrushed.
Or whatever. If it's real or if it isn't real. It don't matter. It don't matter if it is or if it isn't. Like the simple fact that you want to sit up there and parade yourself in front of people and you think that there's nothing wrong with it. There's a problem with that. And no other people's doing it except that people that emulate what we do. People that come into our culture are the only people that do that. Other people don't do that.
They have enough common sense.
It's terrible. But this is what we're looking at right here. This is what we see right over here in these scriptures right here. All right, let's keep on going. Let's drop down. We're right there. Read 38. Read from 38 down through 40.
You take much seed out into the fields, but gather little in, for the locust consumes it. You plant vineyards and shall labor, but you neither drink of the wine nor gather, for the worm eats it. You have olive trees in all your border, but do not anoint with oil, or your olives drop off.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. This person here, that is Israel, these people, they do all of this work. They work hard out here. You take much seed out into the field. It said you take much seed out into the field, but you gather in little. You doing all types of work, but you're not benefiting from the work that you're doing. You plant all types of vineyards. You do all types of labors, but you don't benefit from the work. Keep on going.
41, you bring forth sons and daughters, but they are not with you, for they go into captivity. Locusts possess all your trees, and the fruit of your ground. The sojourner who is among you rises higher and higher above you, but you come down lower and lower. He lends to you, but you do not lend to him. He is the head, and you are the tail.
He lends to you, but you don't lend to him. He give you, but you don't give him nothing. You know, I talked about the check cashing places in here all the time. But you know where they at. You know right where them check cashing places is at. They're right next to the liquor store. They're right next to the dollar store. Them check cashing place, right? But read verse 45.
5 says, and all these curses shall come upon you, and they shall pursue and overtake you, until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the voice of Yahweh, your Elohim, to guard his commands and his laws, which he commanded you.
Okay, and then that's just how it's going to be. It don't say if you decide to start doing it now, then he going to take it away. We can't just look at our position where we are as a result of our disobedience and say, okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to start living right now. The only way back is Yeshua. Yeshua's the only way back. That's the only way we come back from this. It's not like before. It's not like Leviticus 26. It's not like before where he's doing all these things to chastise us. He's starting over again. He's starting over again. This is a golden calf situation. Where he said to Moses, I'm going to start over again with you. To now where something miraculous has to take place in order for this thing over here to be reversed. And read verse 46.
And they shall be upon you for
they is these curses. These curses is what they is.
And they shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, and on your seed forever.
Forever. It said. Forever. What word is that? I wonder is it Olam? Ad Olam. Forever. Olam. It's going to be on you for the unforeseeable future. These curses are going to be a sign on you and for a wonder on you until the unforeseeable future. There's an end, but you're not able to see it because it's so far away.
Wow.
That's what Olam is. Olam is off in the distance, and the end is the path. It vanishes in the end. Like when you stand at the edge of America, and when you look off of the Atlantic Ocean, when you look out there, it looks like it just goes and goes until you can't see any further. Now, in all actuality, if you keep on going, there's land over there. But you can't see, from your perspective, you can't see the end. But that's Olam. And so when we look over at this thing, in terms of these curses being upon us as a people, there's no foreseeable end to these curses that are placed on his people. And as we saw, there's no return from it. Let me just hit on a couple of these things because it just goes on and on. It just goes on and on. And again, there's no return. The point of this from a prophetic standpoint is to literally take these people and for us as a people to be literally destroyed. Drop down. Oh, we're right there. Read 47.
47 says, because you did not serve Yahweh.
47 and 48.
Because you did not serve Yahweh your Elohim with joy and gladness of heart for all the plenty.
Wait a second. This is something else that we gotta think about. And this is something else that we think about in terms of the fact that this ain't just about doing things. You're not able to just look at yourself now and say, all right, I'm going to stop being this wicked person and start doing these things. Because it is a heart situation that needs to happen. It said over here, because you did not serve Yahweh your Elohim with joy and gladness of heart. Because you didn't serve the Most High from your heart is a problem. That's why all of this stuff is happening to you to begin with. Verse 48.
48, and you shall serve your enemies, whom Yahweh sends against you in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in need of all. And he shall put a yoke of iron on your neck, until he has destroyed you.
Until he has destroyed you. Not until he humbles you and you change your mind and come back to the Most High. Not until you decide that you've had enough and you're ready to come back. Until you are destroyed. The Most High wants to destroy his people until you have been destroyed. Until you have been shamad. He keep using these different words. He's destroying us to the utmost. It's not even like he's saying the same word every time. It means the same thing, but he's using these different words. This one, desolate, destroy, destruction, bring to naught, overthrow, perish, pluck down utterly. To pluck down utterly the people. That means that when we look at, again, when we look at the place where we came from, I'm saying, and when I say we, I'm saying people that look like you and I in these Americas. The places where we came from over in West Africa. 1,500 years later, do you think, in your mind, logically speaking, that we was still intact 1,500 years later?
It was cast out. Must have did some more wickedness for it to get worse.
You saying more wickedness, but I'm saying that it's just a continuation. When we look at this thing that the Most High said he was going to do to his people, he's going to just keep on doing things to Israel to destroy his people. He's going to keep on doing it. So it's not like there's not pauses. Like he's just continually doing it, wiping us literally out. And he's going to keep on doing it, more and more things. So if there's like a remnant of people who are trying to do stuff, he's going to wipe them out too. Because that's what he's trying to do. And he's going to keep on putting his foot on the neck of his people so that he's able to destroy his people. And so I'm saying that when we look back at the place where we're able to trace our roots to, those people over there was already a destroyed people. Israel was intact in Israel. But once Israel got kicked out of Israel, they just was doing things that looked similar. But they wasn't looking all the way like Israel. There's no way.
That's just like if somebody who grew up keeping the Sabbath, they just don't work on Saturdays.
Yeah.
But it's not like they're doing anything else.
Yeah. You're right.
They just don't work on Saturdays.
There's things.
Or they don't eat pork. They never ate pork.
They never ate pork. They circumcise their children. But they do all kind of other things too, though. That's debauchery. Because he literally said he was going to put you in these other nations and you was going to worship wood and stone. He didn't say they was going to worship wood and stone, the ones around you. You're going to do it too. That's what he said. Israel has to be a destroyed people. If you believe in the Bible, that's something that you got to believe in. Israel wasn't preserved throughout time. How was they? That makes this over here a lie to me. If Israel's preserved throughout time, these verses is a lie. Israel must be destroyed. Must be destroyed, people. And these curses must be a sign on you if you are in fact Israel. You must belong to a people that can't win, like you like the Scarecrow and the Wiz. You can't win. You can't break even. You can't get out of the game. If in fact you are the people. That's what this says over here. You got to know that. These words that the Most High saying over here, these words is the truth. All right, let's look at some more. Let's look at let's see. Let's drop down to let's drop down through. Oh, we're there already. Read down to 53. We almost done with this here.
Read down to 53. Said.
Hold on.
I'm on 50. Yeah.
Hold on. Read 49 again.
Yahweh shall bring a nation against you from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies. A nation whose language you shall not understand.
Mm-hmm.
A fierce-looking nation which shall show no regard for the elderly, nor show favor to the young. And they shall eat the fruit of your livestock and the fruit of your land until you are destroyed. They leave you no grain, nor new wine, nor oil, nor the increase of the cattle, or the offspring of your flocks, until they have destroyed you.
Okay, these people ain't a God-fearing people. Because if they was, they would have left the corners of their field for you. It says they leave you no grain, nor new wine, nor oil, nor the increase of their cattle, offspring, or the flocks. If they was a God-fearing, quote unquote, people, they'd leave you some grain. Right? That's what the Torah says for them to be doing. But they don't do that for you because they don't care about you. They only care about their own selves. Right? They're not worried about you and you thriving. They are participating in your destruction until you're destroyed. It said it 2 times in the same verse. Until you're destroyed. Until you're destroyed. We see this over and over again. Do you believe in the Bible and what it says? Until you are destroyed. That's the point of this here. The point of these things that are happening against you is for your literal destruction. And there's nothing that you're able to do in order to reverse it. You cannot reverse the curse. Keep on going. 52, 53.
It says, and they shall besiege you at all your gates till your high and fenced walls, in which you are trusting, come down in all your land. And they shall besiege you at all your gates in all your land, which Yahweh your Elohim has given you. And you shall eat the fruit of your own body, the flesh of your sons and your own daughters, whom Yahweh your Elohim has given you, in the siege and distress in which your enemies distress you.
Okay, very good. So, again, we look over here at these things that's going on over here. There's no comeback. There's nothing but destruction that is at the end of all of these situations. Everything bad, nothing good. All the way down to where it says, you shall eat the fruit of your own body. You're going to eat your babies. The flesh of your sons and daughters, who the Most High has given you. That sounds crazy. But this is the utter the state of this people, where you are so bad, where you get to the place where you eat the fruit of your own body, where you really become like your oppressor, where you just do anything to survive. It don't matter what it is. You eat your own babies. If that's what you got, if that's what I got to do, I got to do what I got to do. When you've literally transformed into your oppressor. But the difference is, in your transformation, you're not treated as equal by the oppressor, even though in your mind you transformed into them. Like it's not like it benefits you to transform, for your mind to be transformed into the mind of your oppressor. It's not like you join their team and then you're good with them.
Good, right?
You're always going to be who you are to them.
You think you can join them and hide amongst them, because you see that they prosper in their ways, the things that they do, they're getting away with things. You think you can ride their coattails and you don't have to suffer nothing, just to be sheltered from the Most High's judgment. Well, really, it's ignorance.
Ignorance.
It's ignorance because they don't know why they're being jacked up like that.
But this verse 53 is a perfect example of this, where the mind frame, you've adapted the mind frame of your oppressor. But look at what you're doing. The mind frame is, I'm going to do anything to survive. But look at what you're doing. You're eating your babies. So you just become more wicked. You just become more wicked. You're You've been exiled and cast out and scattered throughout the four corners of the earth because of your disobedience. And your the way that you adapt, the way that you correct yourself is to emulate the people in the places where you are. But then the things that you end up doing, it's just more wickedness. You end up worshiping these idols of wood and stone and eating your own babies. All right, let's look at let's drop down let's drop down to 54. Let's look at 54 through 57.
It says, the man among you who is tender and who is very delicate, his eye is evil against his brother, against the wife of his bosom, and against the rest of his children whom he leaves behind. Against giving any of them the flesh of his children that he eats, because it is all that has been left to him in the siege and distress with which your enemy distresses you in all your gates. The tender and delicate woman among you.
Hold on. This. Let's just think about what we're looking at over here. This person, in his debauchery, in his utter ignorance, disgust, he is eating the flesh of the fruit of his body, his sons and his daughters. But it's speaking about what he's doing as if the thing that he's doing is kind of a selfish thing. But when you look at the totality of what he's doing, it's totally ridiculous, right? It says over here that against and against the rest of the children whom he leaves behind, against giving any of them the flesh of his children that he eat. He's not sharing. He's not sharing the meat from the flesh of the fruit of his body, his sons and his daughters. Like, he's not allowing other people. He's like keeping it to his own self. Like, it's wickedness upon wickedness. Like, there's no end. There's no end to the ignorance of it. And so when you look at this, you think about the fact that the scripture talks about sin begetting sin, where it just becomes more and more. Like, I mean, we could think about, if we was talking about food, sharing with those that are in need. Obviously, there's people that's in need. So it's like a distorted morality.
Right.
The morality is distorted. Right? Because it's a type of righteousness, but even this type of righteousness is wicked. Like, there's not a righteousness in it. Because at the end of the day, we're still talking about cannibalism. The worst kind of cannibalism, your own babies. And so again, we're talking about what Israel actually looks like. What people that are you able to sit up here and look at in this world today, where not necessarily that we look and see, oh, cannibals, oh, that's Israel necessarily.
Right.
But like utter depravity, there's no connection to morality.
Exactly.
There's no connection to the Most High, and there's no hope for these people whatsoever. It don't matter how hard they work. It don't matter how hard did these people try. They always stay in the same place. There's all types of bad things. Only bad things happen to these people. It don't matter how many seeds you plant. You never going to be able to have your baskets be full. And there's nothing that you can do to reverse this thing. I'm just saying, we're not able to look at the people who the world points at and says that that's the people and say, we can't, how do you agree? Because those people...
Who are the people over there now?
The people over there now, and the people who associate with those people, as a whole, those people doing pretty good.
Where's it? I mean, even if you say that it's in their history, where's it at? Let me read about it. It has to be in their recent history to the time that they got put up in there. They claiming.
I'm saying that there's no possible way for them to be the people.
Right.
The way in which they got there, the state of the people, none of it lines up with anything. They're a secular people. And they don't got all these curses on them.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, these are terrible things. Terrible things. I see terrible things happening to people that look like me all over this world. Like, them people was over there in the Ukraine. Why did they have all of those people? They wasn't trying to let the black people on the buses and stuff and escape out of the. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, like.
They people was priority first.
It's just everywhere you go, all over this place, there's a people that is just on the bottom, and there's no turning around.
What about the Holocaust?
The Holocaust.
Yeah, they have the Holocaust.
I'm not a Holocaust denier, but you talking about, what was that, like 4 or 5 years or something like that? I'm not gonna sit up here and act like it didn't happen in the history. It was a thing that happened. But them people recovered from that. Them people recovered.
Well, they're like one of the.
Well, that's why they got in the land. That's why they got. That's why,
I mean, they got reparations.
That propelled the Zionist movement to get into the land.
They got reparations from that. They got got recompense from that.
Yep.
They a terrible. It was an atrocious thing that happened, like cooking people in ovens and junk.
Yeah.
Like, it was terrible. But I mean, as a people, those people,
they good now.
they came back from that.
They good now. They occupy the top professions across the world. They own banks.
All of that stuff.
I mean,
And so I'm saying that in order for those to be the people, based on where history as a whole puts everything, they got to be a nation that believes in Messiah. Otherwise, how do they get back on top? You can't get back on top because no man's able to save you. But man saved them.
mm-hmm.
No man's able to save you. How you get back on top? So you not even a religious people as a whole, but even more so, you're a Messiah denier.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the non-religious Jews think it blasphemy to believe in Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Huh?
I know.
Like they ready to say that you're not Jewish no more once you believe in Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the people. But according to the book, the only way you come back is Messiah. So there's a huge discrepancy over here.
Mm-hmm.
Messiah's the only way back. Yeah, let's keep on. We're gonna get to the end of this. Read 58 here.
If you do not guard to do all the words of this Torah that are written in this book, to fear this esteemed and awesome name, Yahweh your Elohim, and Yahweh shall bring upon you and your descendants extraordinary plagues, great and lasting plagues, and grievous and lasting sicknesses. And he shall bring back on you all the diseases of Mitzrayim, of which you were afraid, and they shall cling to you. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in this book of Torah, of this Torah, Yahweh does bring upon you until you are destroyed.
Wow.
And you shall be left with few men, although you have become as numerous as the stars of heavens, because you did not obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim. And it shall be that as Yahweh rejoice over you to do you good and increase you, so Yahweh does rejoice over you to destroy you and lay you waste, and you shall be plucked from the land which you go to possess. And Yahweh shall scatter you among all the peoples from one end of the earth to the other, and there you shall serve other mighty ones, which neither you nor your fathers have known, wood and stone. Among those nations you are to find no rest, nor have a resting place for the sole of your foot. But there Yahweh shall give you a trembling heart and failing eyes and sorrow of being. After your life, and your life shall be hanging in suspense before you, and you shall fear night and day, and not be certain of your life. In the morning you say, "Oh, that it were evening," and at evening you say, "Oh, that it were morning," because of the fear of your heart with which you fear, and because of the sight which your eyes see. And Yahweh shall bring you back to Mitzrayim in ships, by a way which I said to you, you are never to see it again, and there you shall be sold to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one to buy.
Okay, very good. So, when we look at all of these terrible things that happen, we looked at this one verse over here, the way that he sat up here, and rejoiced over you, and the goodness to increase you. That same way, he rejoiced over destroying you.
That people don't know the Most High, because people be like, my God wouldn't do that. He wouldn't.
Yes, he would.
No, he
did it.
He ain't to be played with.
The same way that he rejoiced over you to do good and increase you, that same way he rejoiced over you to destroy you and to lay you waste, it said.
That's
and
scary.
So how you say that you make it back from this. You can't just say, all right, I'm going to start doing it now. I'm going to start acting right. I'm going to start acting right. Deuteronomy 28 don't teach you that there's that type of a comeback from this. It don't talk about no comeback. There's no happy ending to this.
Right.
It don't have a happy ending. It's different than Leviticus 26, where 26 was about this bad stuff gonna happen to you, but you're able to come back if you would just keep my commands and accept these chastisements. Chastisement, that thought process ain't over here in this chapter, because this in the timeline of Israel is after the separation from the land.
It's like the final judgment.
It's the final switch where we've been cast out of the land, and we ain't coming back until he bring us back.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we come back. And the only way that that's able to take place is through the Spirit being poured out. The only way that you're able to be reattached to the Most High is through His Son Yeshua.
Yep.
That's the only way. Because He already decided that this people is incapable of doing the things that are pleasing to the Most High with their own strength. They need the power of the Ruach HaKodesh in order to do that. What does it say here? The Most High has done this to provoke Israel to jealousy, repent, and return to the Most High's ways. He knows a remnant who through Yeshua will repent and be restored to the blessings. I mean, when I think about this whole idea of this whole provoking Israel to jealousy, it has to be a righteous people. It has to be a people that are experiencing the goodness of the Most High truthfully. Israel can't be jealous of wicked people. I mean, the spirit of those verses, when you think about the idea of provoking Israel to jealousy, the only way I'm able to be jealous as Israel, looking at other nations, is if those nations are literally living the life properly. Otherwise, so what?
I feel like people feel like so what? I don't think they get because
I'm saying that it got to be. I'm saying for the truth of that idea has to be something that's real. It's something that's real. Like, I'm not provoked to jealousy by looking at mainstream Christianity, because that don't look like, to me, that don't look like an authentic relationship with the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
Now, I'm saying if I'm somebody looking at, say somebody that's who I would understand to be of the nations, who's walking in the Torah, who's believing in Messiah, who's has a genuine relationship with Yeshua HaMashiach, and their walk, causes them to be walking in the law, statutes, and commands, that's something to provoke me to jealousy because they're walking in an authentic way. But for somebody to, to be doing churchy things that's really not biblical things, those things can't provoke me to jealousy. Like, that's not the spirit of what those words actually mean. And furthermore, the thinking about that is something that causes me to want to be a part of it. Like, there's got to be something that's real there. Like, say for instance, from a natural standpoint, if there's somebody who is sweet talking my lady, but she's not buying into the sweet talk, right? She's acting properly, not paying no attention to it, shunning it, disregarding it. That don't provoke me to jealousy. It might provoke me to other things towards the person, but it's not. It don't provoke me to jealousy because she don't care what this person is doing. But if something other than that happens, and then she is falling into this, if she's falling into this whole thing of these sweet words that this person is saying to my woman, and she's kind of accepting these things, now that then is a whole other story. And so that's how you gotta think about this thing. If there's somebody who's trying to woo the Most High back into their lives, but they're not being successful at it, it's not something that I look at and covet.
But is it talking about the righteous? Is it talking about the righteous of our people?
You talking about the idea of provoking Israel to jealousy?
Yeah.
It's not our people, it's the nations. So the nations will be provoking Israel to jealousy of them.
Right,
but those people would have to be seeking after the Most High in a right way, though, in order to even provoke the people into righteousness.
To a righteous person, right? For a righteous person to.
So I'm saying it takes for a Gentile to be following after the Most High in a right way, mm-hmm, in order to provoke Israel to jealousy. Otherwise, who cares? Who cares?
But you're saying Israel, who is righteous, because most of Israel's not righteous.
I'm saying in this situation, it will be, again, the provoking to, it would be Israel who would be led to righteousness as a result of what's going on. Israel looking at that situation and saying, "Oh, I need to be doing something with myself. I need to get back on track. I need to seek after the Most High the way that they're seeking after the Most High." So it's not somebody who's currently righteous, but it's somebody who could be led unto righteousness based on seeing the righteousness of the Gentiles being righteous.
Right, okay.
But I'm saying that can't happen if you talking about, what you see in mainstream Christianity.
Right.
Because, they Sunday. pigs and all of these other things falling out, and so on and so forth. Okay, but so bringing all of this to a close, when we think about the state of Israel, when we think about the place that Israel has found itself in this state of utter destruction, turned into these idolaters and eaters of its own babies. When we continue on in the prophecies and understanding that, I just want to finish off with going over to, are we done with this? We go over to here, start reading right here in verse 1 right here.
It says, the hand of Yahweh was upon me and took me out by the Spirit of Yahweh and set me down in the midst of the valley, and it was filled with bones. And he made me pass among them all around, and see, there were very many on the surface of the valley, and see, they were very dry. And he said to me, Son of man, would these bones live? And I said, O Master Yahweh, you know. Again he said to me, prophesy to these bones, and you shall say to them, O dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus said the Master Yahweh to these bones, see, I am bringing into you a spirit, and you shall live. And I shall put sinews on you, and bring flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put a spirit in you, and you shall live, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. And I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and there was a rattling, and the bones came together, bone to bone. And I looked and saw sinews, and flesh came upon them, and skin covered them, but there was no spirit in them. He then said to me, prophesy to the spirit, prophesy, Son of man, and you shall say to the spirit, thus said the Master Yahweh, come from the four winds, O spirit, and breathe on these killed ones, so that they live. And I prophesied as he commanded me, and the spirit came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet. Stood upon their feet a very great army. And he said to me, Son of man, these bones are all the house of Israel. See, they say, our bones are dry, our expectancy has perished, and we ourselves have been cut off. Therefore prophesy, and you shall say to them, thus said the Master Yahweh, see, O my people, I am opening your burial sites, and shall bring you up from your burial sites, and shall bring you into the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am Yahweh when I open your burial sites, my people, and bring you up from your burial sites. And I shall put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I shall settle you in your own land, and you shall know that I am Yahweh, that I, Yahweh, have spoken and have done it, declares Yahweh.
Okay, very good. So when we look at just kind of closing, thinking about what we read over here with what we see with this whole situation, the state of Israel as a destroyed people. The state of Israel as a destroyed people that was destroyed because of disobedience to the Most High. So much so destroyed that the prophet, when he spoke to the people, he was just speaking to bones. Like, he didn't even know there was people there. It was just bones there that he was speaking to. He spoke to these dry bones that was in this valley, who first they needed to be spoken to so that they could even just come together to even be humans again. Where they could come together with flesh and sinews and skin. But they had no spirit still. So they had to be spoken to first of all to even just come together and be human beings again. First. And then another time for those humans to be filled with the Spirit. To even get to the place of even saying, oh, this is Israel. Now you can see that it's Israel once the Spirit then comes. And so this people was so destroyed, just like we see in Deuteronomy 28 that they would be, that they was unrecognizable to the prophet who was speaking the message of the Most High. And they needed two kind of pourings out in order to even make it back to being recognized as Israel in the first place. All because of what we see over in Deuteronomy 28 and what it is that the Most High said he was going to do to his people as a result of disobedience. The only way that Israel comes back to being a people that is recognizable and accepted in the eyes of the Most High is through the pouring out of the Ruach HaKodesh, which only comes and benefits you based on your faith and trust in Yeshua HaMashiach. Outside of Yeshua HaMashiach, all you are is some unrecognizable dry bones in the valley. Some dead thing in a burial site. Not even in a grave, in a burial site just full of just bones. Like that place where they didn't want for Simba to go to. They had all the dead elephant things. But that's what his people are outside of Messiah. Just a burial site. Just know he only the prophet only know to speak to this particular burial site because the Most High said speak to them. And then once they was able to receive the skin and the flesh and the bones and receive the Spirit, then he finds out, oh, that's Israel. Huh. We need Yeshua. We need Yeshua. He's the only way. He's the only way back to life. He's the only door. He's the only way that we come unto the Father. Any other way, you're a thief and you're a robber. And there's no place for thieves or robbers in the kingdom. Okay, what's this say lastly?
That was just a question about the Gentiles.
The Gentiles are the Gentiles referred to as Gentiles. Salvation can be given to Gentiles now too through Yeshua, which revoke Israel to jealousy, repentance, and restoration.
That's from there was a question that was above it. That was the answer to that question.
What's this say? I was under. This. What's this say? I was understanding that the Gentiles was the returning. Israelites? Oh, no. The Gentile. Yes. Gentile is Gentiles are Gentiles. Right. Like what was said over here. Israel lost. It's just that. Israel lost. Israel
lost is its bones.
Is the dry bones. That's what we just read over here. But even when you think about Deuteronomy 28, he said we was going to go and be destroyed by these people. The things that was being described in the chapter is Israel in their minds becoming like these people and worshiping their gods and becoming idolaters. But it's still Israel, though. You know, Gentiles is different. It don't make any sense to think about Israel being provoked to jealousy by Israel. That's not the thought. The thought is other nations being able to be attached to the Most High through the only way you could be attached to the Most High, which is through His Son Yeshua. And then Israel, natural Israel, looking at that and saying, that's where I'm supposed to be at. Let me come to Messiah too. Very good. All right. So that being said, does anybody have any thoughts, questions, or additional comments before we finish up?
Could we get one more you can't win little interlude?
Oh, yeah.
That's so funny.
You can't win.
That's real though. That's real. I mean, the whiz, you know, that's prophecy right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's real. Without Messiah, you can't win. You can't win. You can't break even. You can't get out of the game. That's the truth. We need Messiah. We need Messiah to reverse this thing that he said was going to happen to us. We need the Ruach HaKodesh, who we only receive through Messiah, to bring us back to life. Because the Most High, the things that he does, he's good at doing the things that he does. He's good at destroying what he wants to destroy. And he did that with his people. And it takes, just like we read in Ezekiel chapter 37, it takes a supernatural experience to turn around from what he has done through his wrath and anger towards us. So, you know, that's just very important for us to understand. Okay, that being said, we're going to go ahead and be done for right now. Y'all willing, we will return on next week to continue with our look at the triennial Torah portion. Y'all willing, everyone has a blessed week. Remember, if you are already a subscriber, share the video, hit the like button, put some comments down in the not the live, but even in the regular comments. You know, to get these videos into the YouTube algorithm, get them things popping over there. And we'll say, for people who aren't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, so that you could get all of the latest and greatest from the channel. Okay, so that being said, we'll say for now, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.